The price for a kilometer was very, very high. Every species knew it. It was high enough that most modern alien governments couldn't even fathom the cost, let alone afford it. Who, after all, could lose their best soldiers, bear the economic losses, deal with the angry masses? To avoid war, many pacts, alliances, treaties, coalitions, and more alike were established between themselves, to divide up territory, solve trading woes, organize plunderings of worlds, and other steps needed to advance one's civilization. Yet there was always one species missing from these collaborations. Humans are often looked down upon. They were at first impressed when the humans had the power to help liberate the chronic peoples from the Spectalians. The various alien civilizations were later no longer infatuated with what they saw as a once promising but now stagnant civilization. For the humans, for some reason, didn't want to expand. In fact, they were content with just colonizing their own twin-sun solar system, an idea preposterous to many others. The fact that the Kozin later practically turned their planet into an artificial death world didn't help much with such perspectives. But none of these facts bothered the humans much. Thanks to the efforts of the Spectalians and the Kozin, they had seen what many aliens could and would do, and were quite happy to be left by themselves, isolated, alone. But that all changed when the humans found that one planet in their solar system, simply dubbed the Frontier, was immensely rich in rare earth element ores, which were utterly essential to advancing one's scientific civilization. When the various alien governments heard about this through their various back channels, oftentimes human informants and turncoats, each checked to see if they had any treaties with this almost forgotten about civilization. The glee of each when they realized they held none with the humans was immeasurable. From close by to the far reaches of space, each sent its own troops to invade, plunder, kill, to claim the land for king, country, or people. The poor humans were completely unprepared for the landing aliens. The various alien armies, already having divided up the land prior in various meetings, swept across the barren, desert frontier land as the humans retreated further and further back. There was virtually no human military personnel there except for those in a handful of observation bases. Why, the NIF reasoned, would they need to have more than a couple? It was a frontier, where humans could return to the homestead life after all. However, the lack of a military presence quickly made the remaining loosely organized homesteaders retreat to the impromptu evacuation zones. With the remaining humans either dead or evacuating, the various alien governments claimed victory. The humans from the frontier, now back on their home planet of Lornsec, caused a refugee crisis among the FSL and the other human states. The alien civilizations, emboldened by their blitzkrieg, decided not to invade Lornsk. What, they reasoned, could the humans possibly do on their worthless potato of a planet? In truth, it was more because all of the universal traits that almost all alien civilizations had, greed, that caused them to withhold from attacking. While the alien governments poised their non-attacking of the human home planet Lornsk as a moral and righteous decision, they quickly set up mining infrastructure to sap and extract the planet of its precious elements, and they were determined to turn the frontier into a husk. After the National Identity Front, the one and only party allowed in the FSL, dealt with the chaos caused by the refugees and the frontier invasion in general, it asked or forced everyone to move to the countryside or into underground cities or bases to minimize casualties from any potential invasion or orbital strikes. In reality, the members of the NIF wanted to make sure their following actions would be unseen and unheard of by the various alien governments. They were going to build landers, artillery, small arms, armor, and everything else needed to achieve their goal, taking back the frontier. The aliens, reaping the rewards of the frontier soil, were more than glad to ignore the humans. They figured, after all, what could the humans do with their NBC-contaminated planet? They couldn't grow food, mine minerals, transport goods, or do anything else without tremendous effort. They considered humanity good as extinct when they were trapped on Lunsk. The NIF slowly but surely amassed more material as the alien settlers and governments grew more and more self-absorbed in their riches. Numerous sweat, tears, and unfortunately people were spent on developing and manufacturing the war material, but none actually touching the material due to the inhabitants' NBC suits, and finally, after many turbulent years, the NIF were ready. As NIF soldiers descended onto the frontier ground, they braced themselves for the fight of their lives, quite literally. The alien armies, though startled at first, then started to fire upon the landing humans. The wave of airdrop soldiers failed to retake much land, if any at all. It was firmly repelled. The commanders laughed and ridiculed the humans. How could they possibly go up against them? Their confidence was justified and reinforced by the attack's casualty rate, 87%. With the humans suffering such a massive loss, they would sue for peace soon. Perhaps as part of the peaceful negotiations, they could take some of their land, the various alien commanders thought in glee. All these thoughts vanished when an Ologian soldier reported that a human space jumper landed on the hard, rough frontier soil. This second wave had arrived. 92% casualty rate. All human objectives failed. Third wave came a few days after that. 84% casualty rate. All human objectives failed. When the sixth wave came, the alien army's confidence began to waver just slightly. Why weren't the humans surrendering? They were mounting immeasurable odds in men and material. They should have sued for peace long ago. Seventh wave, 79% casualty rate. All human objectives failed. Eighth wave, 88% casualty rate. All human objectives failed. Ninth wave, 67% casualty rate. 80 square kilometers captured. Humanity's gaining of a foothold shocked everyone. How could they? The alien troops had the best in arms, troops, and strategy. Yet the humans captured some land. The alien commanders remained calm, however. After all they had to do was squeeze the humans out of only 80 kilometers. A joke to boost alien morale began to surface among the alien armies. One that jested how the ninth wave humans couldn't see the frontier ground because it was covered by the corpses of their comrades. There was some truth to it. First assault on human-controlled territory. 41% human casualty rate. 9% alien coalition casualty rate. 55 kilometers held by humans. Second assault on human-controlled territory. 38% human casualty rate. 14% alien coalition casualty rate. 49 kilometers held by humans. Third assault. 22% human casualty rate. 24% alien coalition casualty rate. 48 kilometers held by humans. The alien commanders were furious. Their respective governments more so. How could they lose more men than humanity? This was unacceptable, they said. They would put everything they had in the next assault, the alien commanders agreed. Right before they finished planning, however, the Spectalian commander noticed something out the window. A human in full-body black armor, with a gas mask helmet combo with lenses that glowed red. The humans had come to them. By the time the humans had gained a tenth of the whole planet, the alien commanders all had a thought bubble up from their dark subconsciousness. Could the humans actually win? The elves were the first to give up the fight. They claimed that they extracted more than enough resources to cover their expenses. They also claimed that if they remained there any longer, that wouldn't be the case for long. The elven commanders pulled their troops from the front lines and left without more fuss. 8th of the planet recaptured. The Oglo were the second. After the Green Bay battle, their commanders announced to the coalition that they no longer had sufficient ammunition for their weapons. When the others offered to donate theirs, the Oglo commanders refused, saying their MO was incompatible. Everyone there knew that they just wanted out. They also pulled their troops and headed home. 5th of the planet recaptured. The Saudis weren't so lucky to escape unscathed. The humans, more familiar with NBC material than anyone else, deployed their chemical radio flamers against them. They all suffered from genetic damage and toxins. The Saudis, angry that humans could have the nerve to use such material against them, deployed NBC weapons against the humans. The humans, wearing NBC suits ever since the first time the Krosan landed on Lunsk, simply shrugged it off. Now spiteful with no way to release their anger against the humans, the Saudis also packed up and went home. They suffered more damage from the NBC materials than they let on. 3rd of the planet recaptured. The Sunzoids were next. After their military leadership was quite literally torn apart by human infiltrators, they retreated in chaos from the front lines. Without any superiors, organization within the Sudzodian army quickly fell apart, and they flew back to their planet. Majority of the planet recaptured. The starving Yorkats left in shame after the humans utterly defeated them, with a casualty ratio of 1 to 30. The Yorkats all crammed together in the remaining ships that were still in the coalition-held territory. With the Yorkats gone, only one species remained. Less than 99.9% of the planet recaptured. The Spectalians were humanity's longest and second most hated enemy, so it was not a surprise to the human soldiers that they were the last ones remaining. Since the Spectalians were the closest to the humans, as well as being the only alien army left on the frontier, they were responsible for all the reparations. As the head commander of the Spectalian Expeditionary Force sat on the stiff, metallic chair, he stared at the document laid on the table before him. He didn't actually read the words written. A thought was bugging his mind the entire war, and he, after much deliberation, decided to ask the lone prior that guarded the desolate cell he was in, both of which were testaments that the humans didn't really care or respect the Spectalians much anymore. "Soldier, answer me a question," said the artificial, translated voice the Spectalian's visor produced. The soldier remained silent and stood steady, not even turning around towards him. The Spectalian continued anyway. "How could you throw so much away? I visited the mass graves during your initial waves. They took up my entire peripheral vision. How could you lose so much and yet continue on as if nothing has happened?" The soldier, though shifting a bit, did not respond or move. He remained in position. The Spectalian pressed on. The Spectalian commander decided to appeal to the human's emotions to garner a response. "Ah, I see now how you do it. You simply have no regard for your comrades' lives. You see the rifle, armor, and other war material handed to you as trash, ready to be thrown out. When you see the comrade to your left get blown to bits by our weapons, you don't even care enough to turn around to look. You simply see the price of war as that, something that you have to put a certain amount of material in to win, not caring about the people and work that make up the purchase." This indeed did trigger a response from the private. He flung open the cell door and stormed inside. He slammed his hand on the rigidy, cold and unpolished table. He pointed at the Spectalian and began to talk. "We damn well knew the price, and we paid heavily. You want to know why we paid the price at every single goddamn cursed kilometer?" The private took a deep breath and shook his head. "We always wanted peace. It's true. When my ancestors arrived at Lunsk and found actual aliens, they were hopeful for what the future might bring. I mean, the possibilities were endless. God rest their souls. If they only knew how evil you all were. You all are just plain despicable. When they finally realized what you are, what you did, they couldn't cooperate with any of you people. And so we withdrew, hoping that you wouldn't bother us. We wouldn't have bothered you. But you still did. You still killed and plundered for your own greed. Murdered our brothers and sisters over and over again. Yet you all claim that you're a peaceful species, yet your actions always contradict that. You're all hypocrites, murderers, liars, and..." The private leaned in. "We're gonna make sure you guys never do anything like that to us or to other people again." The private then tapped the document. "Now sign." After the Frontier War, the the humans, changed. No longer were they going to bask in their isolationism. Every alien government that fled diplomatically begged for them to be what they once were, content with their own solar system. But there was no going back to what once was, only toward the future, towards humanity's expansion. The age of humanity had begun. And yet, even as I, as a human historian, write this during a time when human civilization is stronger than ever, I can't help but feel like we are nothing more than broken shells of what we once were. We lost something gradually over the various wars. Was it hope for the future? Optimism of what could be? I'm not sure. But I'm sure, even as human space jumpers reach the numerous stars, that humanity is lesser now than ever.